Hello and welcome to another pen video from me, Penultimate Dave. So this is my currently inked video for the 20th of May 2019, and I will show you the pens that I have inked up this week. So from left to right we have the Twist pens, or John Twist Volcano, the Visconti Jacques de Molay, the Armando Simoni Club Bologna Extra Arco Verde, the Molteni Royal Blue Lucents Model 55 or Modello 55S, the Omos Arte Italiana Paragon Grande in Arco Brown, the Visconti Divina Desert Spring, the Visconti Camelot, the Visconti Race Tech, the Visconti Ducati Palazzo di Sassuolo, and the Scribo Feel in grey. So these are the pens I have currently inked up, and I'll just go through some of these pens and then we'll do a writing sample. So this is the most recent pen that I added to my collection, and this was at the end of April at the UK Northern Pen Show. And this is a Twist pen, or a pen from John Twist. He's a custom pen maker in the UK. And this is the Volcano, and this is a beautiful material, and you can see there just how well that material looks and shines. It's a really stunning material. So this is a custom pen. It's not made of acrylic or resin, it's actually made of a hybrid mix, which is called Alumilite. And you can see here just how that chatoyance actually works on this pen. It's a really lovely pen. In terms of the size of the pen, it's actually quite nice in my hand, and you can see there it's a really good size. The section here tapers down and then flares out a little bit to stop your finger and thumb slipping onto the nib. It also comes with a John Twist or Twist Pens logo nib. This is a steel nib, gold plated, and this is a broad nib. It's actually a Yovo nib, and for me that's a really nice pen. And it's also, if I show the filling system, a cartridge converter pen. So this was one of the most recent pens that I picked up at the Northern Pen Show. It was actually the only pen that I picked up at the Northern Pen Show, but it's a pen that I really do like, and you can just see there how that pattern just matches up. It's a gorgeous colour. And then the next pen is the Visconti, and this is the Jacques de Molay, and this is a Templar pen, and this I bought for my birthday, and this was in February. And this is a Knights Templar pen, and the filling system is a Powervac filling system. If I unscrew the cap here, you have a lovely chalice or helmet there for the filling knob. And of course this is inked up, so I am not going to try and pull that out. But you can see here the gorgeous chainmail that goes on here in this pen is absolutely stunning. So I have a review of this on my channel already. If you haven't seen that and you want to see it, go watch it now. And you can see there the size of the pen is actually quite a large pen, and you can't really post it. It's not really meant for posting, but I don't post this pen, or would not want to post this pen. But you can see there the nib is a 23 karat palladium nib. So that nib is a nice nib. It's a medium nib, but it's a nib that works and writes very well for me. So that's the Visconti Jacques de Molay. Notice there is no clip on this pen, so you do have to be a bit careful with it rolling around on the desk. So I tend to use a pen rest to put this pen on. And you also see it's a very large pen as well. And I also have this pen as well, which I have inked up, and this is the Armando Simone Club Bologna Extra Arco Verde. And this is one of my really favourite pens. I do like the Arcos. The green or the Verde is something that really I have come to love a lot more than the Arco Brown. The Arco Brown is nice. The Arco Verde is a lot more limited in the material. But this is a gorgeous, gorgeous material. You can see here that how that light just comes off and reflects on that material. It really is a stunning pen. So in terms of the size, it's actually a really good size for me. And I can, if I want to, post the cap, but it becomes a real wand, so I tend not to. The nib itself is an 18 karat gold medium Magic Flex nib. And this is a Bock nib made for Armando Simone Club. But it is a really nice wet writing nib. Now, the filling system on this, and I've shown this on past videos, is a pneumatic filling system. And you pull this out here, push this down, and you put your finger over that hole, and then it creates a suction, and then ink rushes in. I'm not going to do that now because it is inked up, and I don't want to get ink everywhere or ink inside the cap. There are a lot of threads there, but that is a really gorgeous pen, and I do love writing with that. So that always is a favourite writer for me when I'm writing letters. Then we have the Molteni, and this is the royal blue Luchance material, and it's a Modello 55S, and I picked this up in March at the London Pen Show, and this is a favourite of mine as well. I love how it writes. It's got a very slight architect grind feeling going on when I write with it. You don't notice it a lot in the writing, but it feels more like an architect grind to me. But it is a lovely pen, and you can see here this material really, really is stunning. Now, in terms of size, again, it's a very good size. And I have another video review of this on my channel you can look at if you want to. But I have this inked up, and it's a piston filling pen, and I absolutely love to write with this pen. And again, it's a Bock nib. I'll show you the nib here. It's an 18 karat gold nib, but it's a really, really nice nib. Writes very, very well for me. And then around the February-March time, I picked up this other pen, and I wanted another Arco Brown pen in my collection. So I picked this up, and this is an Omas, and it's the Arte Italiana Paragon Grande in the Arco Brown. And you can see why I like this. The Arco Brown material really is a stunning material. You can just see there how the light picks up on this. And this is an original Omas. Now, the Paragons used to be a lot smaller, so this is the Arte Italiana Paragon, also known as the Grande. So if I unscrew this, you will see here it has a gold coloured section. And then the nib is an 18 karat gold medium nib there. But in terms of size, you can see here the pen actually fits my hand very, very well. Now, can I post the cap? Yes, I can. Again, it becomes a little bit of a wand. It's not something I want to do, but I know a lot of people do. So, and again, this is a piston filling pen. So this is actually quite a nice pen, and you can see there the word Omas there. And then the Greek keyband. So this is a pen, again, I really do like writing with. And then we have this Visconti Divina Desert Spring. And this is a pen that I've had in my collection for a long time. And it's a gorgeous pen. And you can see why this material really is stunning. Lots of reds and oranges and blues and little bit of white going on there in the swirls. And it's a Davina, so it's got this sort of twisted, faceted design. It doesn't have the silver rods in the body though. And if I uncap this, you'll see here the size of the pen is actually quite a nice size. It's a little bit of a longer pen in my hand. Now, the section here tapers down a little bit and then flares out. And then you'll see here it's got a 23 karat palladium medium nib on this pen. Now, this is a captured converter, so it only holds around sort of 0.6, 0.7 milliliters of ink. So it's not a great capacity compared to some of these others here that I have, but again, it's a nice writer and I do like that pen. And then we have the Visconti Camelot, and this is a pen that really holds a very nice spot in my heart. You can just see here the amount of detail that goes on here in that chainmail. It's absolutely stunning. Not only that, if I show you the nib here, the nib is an 18 karat gold and it's a medium nib. And it's a gorgeous pen to write with. It's a power vac filler. It actually fits quite nicely in my hand. You cannot post the cap, but it is a gorgeous writer. So for me, this is a pen that really, really works well for me, and I do like writing with that pen. Now, a pen that I haven't showcased a lot in my collection, I've had it a very long time, is this Visconti Race Tech. So this is an interesting pen. You see sort of these holes in the bridge clip here, which really signifies sort of brake discs. And then you have the checkered flag here, and then it says Race Tech Visconti, and then it has this carbon fiber sort of pattern that's going on here, and then an end cap. So this is an interesting one. So if you look at the size of my hand, it's a little bit of a smaller pen, but it still fits nicely. The nib itself has what is called a Visconti Smart Touch nib. It's actually a chromium 18, and it's a tubular nib. Now, these tubular nibs or chromium 18 nibs are really just steel nibs with a chrome plating on them, as I understand it. Now, one of the downsides with this pen is that this checkered pattern here was black and white, but like with a lot of white sections on pens, that can stain over time, and I have had red ink in there. Now, in terms of the filling system on this pen, it's just a standard cartridge converter. And then I have this Visconti, and it's the Ducali Palazzo di Sassuolo. And this is a really lovely pen. I love these orange swirls. This material here in the cap is actually called the Yellow Dawn from Visconti. But you can also see here that there is an inscription here on the barrel of the pen, and it's actually the palace itself. But this is a gorgeous pen. It's a power vac filling pen as well. So it holds a lot of ink, and it's a demonstrator. And then you can see here, this has an 18 karat gold medium nib on the pen. But in terms of the size of the pen, it's actually a really nice size. It's actually quite light as well. So this is a pen that I also like writing with a lot. And I haven't had it inked up a lot recently. Same with the Race Tech. So I have inked both of these up now, and I think the Race Tech I've not had inked up for at least a year, and this Ducali I have not had inked up at least 6 months. So I've decided to ink these up. And then I have the Scribo Feel, and this is in the grey, or the grey-blue version. And I do like this pen, and I do like how it writes. It's a really, really lovely pen. In terms of the nib, it's using what was the original Omas OM81 nibs, and this is the 14 karat medium flex nib. You can see there, it's a really, really nice nib, and it does have quite a bit of flex. In terms of the size of my hand, you can see there, it's actually quite a good size. If you wanted to post the cap, you probably could, but it's really not secure, so I wouldn't do it. So I wouldn't really post that. But again, it's a lovely pen, and it's a pen that I do like writing with. So let's go and do some writing samples of these pens. So let's start off with this pen. And this is the... Let's do an ink swatch here first. So you can see this has a really, really lovely colour ink. So this is the twist pens, and it's the Volcano, and it is a broad nib. The ink is Diamine Poppy Red. Now the next pen is the... Let's do an ink swatch first. You can see here this is a grey ink that I have in here. And it is the Visconti Jacques de Molay, and it's a medium nib. And the ink in here is Diamine Earl Grey. And that is a really lovely grey ink that I do like. The next pen has a green ink, and it did hard start a little bit there because I did have the nib uncapped a bit whilst I was showing you the nibs earlier. So this is an Armando Simone Club Bologna in the Arco Verde, and it's a medium nib. And the ink that I always like to have inked up in this particular pen is Akerman Bezuiden Woodgone. And for me, that is a lovely shade of green. So it's an ink that I do like a lot. And then we have the Molteni. We'll do an ink swatch here as well. Now, although this is a blue pen, I do have this purpley ink in here. So this is the Molteni, and it's the Royal Blue Luchance Modelo 55S, and again it's a medium nib, and the ink is KWZ Gummy Berry, and this is an ink that I've really started to love a lot more in my collection, so I've been using it in a lot more pens recently. The next pen is the Omas, and as you can see here, the ink is a lovely brown, and it's the Omas Arte Italiana Paragon Grande, and it's a medium nib. Now the ink is another Akamon ink, which is also made by Diamine, and it's Akamon or Akamon SBRE Brown. And that is a brown ink that I do like a lot. I also like Diamine Ochre as well. And then we have this pen next. And this is the Visconti. And I always have this inked up with the same pink ink. I really do love this pink, and I've not really found another pen that likes this ink as much, because it's a very highly saturated and concentrated dye ink. And it's a hot purple, and it sheens quite a bit as well. So this is the Visconti Divina Desert Springs, and it's a medium nib. And then the ink in here is Pilot Oroshizuku, and it's Suji, and it's a gorgeous, gorgeous pink, very hot pink, but it's a pink that I do like a lot. The next pen is again another Visconti, and there's obviously a clear theme here. I do like Viscontis, and this is a very dark ink. Now you would think that that's more of a black ink, but it's not. So this is the Visconti Camelot, and it's a medium nib, and the ink in here is Mont Blanc Lavender Purple, and it's actually a really, really dark coloured ink, but it's an ink that I do like. And this ink can sometimes look a lot lighter in other pens and on other paper as well. Then next up we have, yes, you guessed it, another Visconti. So this is a fine nib. It's a chromium 18 nib, which is a steel nib, but I find this writes more like an extra fine nib to me. So it's a pen that I don't use a lot, because I really don't like extra fine nibs. You can see here, so it's a Visconti Race Tech, and it is a fine nib, but to me it's more of an extra fine. Now the ink in here that I have at the moment is Lamy Red. And then the second to last pen is the Visconti again. And this is a lovely orange ink. And you can see here this pen is a very wet writer. So this is a bit of a mouthful. This is the Visconti Ducali Palazzo di Sassuolo, and it is a medium nib, and the ink in here is Sailor Gentle Apricot or Apricot. But that is a gorgeous ink, which I am starting to run low on. I think I've only got about a bottle and a half left of that ink, but it's an ink that I really do like. I have a lot more of the newer Kinmakusei inks, so I'm trying to bridge between using the Apricot and that, but I don't see the point of actually not using the ink, because if I don't use the ink, it's never going to get used. And then the final pen I have inked up today is a Scribo. And you can see here, again, this is a very wet writing nib. So this is the Scribo feel, and it is a medium nib, but it's a flex nib. So you can see I can get line variation out of it. Now the ink in here is Pilot Iroshizuku, and it's Kiri Sami, which is a lovely grey ink. It's an ink that I do like a lot, so I do have it in my collection. So you can see here, I'll just zoom in a little bit more, we have the Twist Pens Volcano in a broad nib, inked up with Diamine Poppy Red. We have the Visconti Jacques de Molay with a medium nib, Diamine Earl Grey. An Armando Simoni Club Bologna Arco Verde with a medium nib, and that's inked up with Akamon Bazudin Woodgrawn. We have the Molteni Royal Blue Lucents Modelo 55S with a medium nib, that is inked up with KWZ Gummy Berry. We have the Omas Arte Italiana Paragon Grande with a medium nib, inked up with Akamon SBRE Brown. We have the Visconti Divina Desert Springs in a medium nib, and that's inked up with Pilot Iroshizuku Suji. We have the Visconti Camelot in a medium nib, inked up with Mont Blanc Lavender Purple, which actually looks more of a black on this paper and in that pen. We have the Visconti Race Tech in a fine nib, inked up with Lamy Red, which really feels more like an extra fine nib. We have the Visconti di Carli Palazzo di Sassuolo in a medium nib with Sailor Gentle Apricot. And then we have the Scribo Feel in a medium nib, and this is a 14 cat flex nib, inked up with Pilot Iroshizuku Kiri Sami. Now, I'm going to try and show you a little bit of sheen here that's going on. I mentioned that this Visconti Divina Desert Springs is inked up with the pink ink, but hopefully you can see there's actually quite a bit of gold sheen going on there. Maybe you can just see that there on camera. So it's actually a really nice ink, and you can also sometimes get a little bit of sheen on that Sailor Gentle Apricot as well. So there you have it. That's my currently inked for the 25th of May 2019. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next pen video. Bye bye.